Here we are, Saturday night at the clubhouse. One important point, factor I must point out, is the club equipment's connected exactly the same again. But again, remember, you connect the radio clock first. The good thing about the radio clock and the TauRIS system is there's no walking around outside to get a radio signal. The radio signal is received immediately. If it runs for 2-3 days, 3 weeks, whatever, it still is perfect. The radio time's perfect. You get an immediate radio signal. That's the main thing. I hear too many people saying, "Oh, we've had to wait 45 minutes for a radio signal. We're having to plug club equipment in before we go to the clubhouse." There's none of that with this. It's immediately there. But then again, when you've been at ETS business 17 years, I think if it wasn't working correctly, they'd have been out of business a long time ago. But anyway, going back to striking your clock off. Club equipment connected exactly the same. Plug the clock in to the club equipment. Number 3 will come up on the screen, which it has done. Control clock. So all we do, number 3 is flashing, so we just press the hash. It says confirm by pressing hash again, so we press hash again. The clock's bleeped, so it's picked up the radio signal, so we can now strike it off. We just press hash again. Number 8 is flashing for print, so you press number 8. And it's asking for the race point number. Now the race point number, if you forgot, is on your entry list. But if you wanted to find it, you just press the hash. Use the down arrow key till you got to number 4, because we know it's Wincanton. When you find it, you just press hash. Again, it's pre-programmed to print off 2 copies, but if you wanted more, you just put 3, 4, 5 and press the hash after, because then it would print off as many as you needed. But we'll just use the 2 again, so we just press the hash and it's printing me off 2 copies of the birds that I have timed in from Wincanton. The important thing now about after this printing out is clearing this clock. If there was more than one race in this clock, you would just disconnect it from the club equipment. You would not put the password in, and I repeat, you do not put the password in if there's more than one race in this clock. If you know you're behind, for example in the national, and you're not bothered about having the second race printed off or taking it to another club, then you would just input the password so it clears it. But we'll just look at the sheets, if we can zoom in far enough. It's got all the arrivals of your pigeons, which we've got here, 2 on the same second, 21-21, so that was pretty good with me swiping them over. The 2 times you're looking for is here. Time set on the 27th, 14:56 and 40. Your clock read 14:56 and 40. On Saturday night, 15:10:28. Your clock read 15:10:28. So it's a dead clock. And it says there, sensors 001. That means you've just had 1 sensor pad connected. So all the information is there that we need. So it is now safe to clear this clock so these birds could be used for training again. Because if you didn't clear the clock now and you sent them birds away for a training flight, which was stored in this clock now from this race, it wouldn't time them in because it needs to empty it. So what you do is you press number 6 and it asks us for the code word, in other words the password, which we put in, if you remember back when we was using the PC. I know it's 41, so we just go 1, 2, 3, 4 and we press the hash. That clock is now empty and them rings, them birds and that will now be okay to train. They'll be okay to go the following week. As I said, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you mark for 2 races on the same day, and I'm also going to show you what happens if you try to enter a pigeon twice, because that is a common factor that a clock or a bird, believe it or not, tries to get entered in 2 races, and I'll show you that it doesn't allow it. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is 2 races on the same day. Thank you. Right, here we are again. As I said, I would show you how to mark 2 races on the same day. Normally this happens when you're racing the national, say you'd mark on a Thursday for one and your own club on a Friday. If you're going along to the national marking station using a different club marking equipment, for example, say it was a Unicon, you'd have one of these adapters, which is Unar's adapter. Plugs to the top of your clock, and the other end would plug into the Unicon club equipment. Just same as what if they was using TauRIS at the national marking, which does happen. A Unicon will plug into the porthole on our multi-system node where it says Unicon. So anyway, here we go. We'll mark for the first race. you mark exactly the same as you would any other time, say Friday night. So you connect the clock to the club equipment either via the U-Knives lead, or if you're just plugging straight into the TauRIS, and the clock lights up. So again, to mark for a race, it's 7 hash 7. It asks for the commission ring, which I've got here. If you was marking on a Unicon, you would use the Unicon commission ring, but we're using TauRIS. So it's bleeped, and after it's bleeped, you just press the hash, commission ring down, and it's asking for the race point. So we'll just use number 1. So you press 1 and hash. It's now asking for your tented pigeons for the first race. First pigeon out of the basket. That's the first one entered. That's the second one entered. We'll just enter them 2. If you're entering 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, you just do exactly the same. So we're now going to strike this clock. You mark the clock exactly the same no matter what club equipment you're using. So it's start, wait for the main menu to reappear, which is now done. Start again. Number 3 is flashing for set clock, so you just need to press the hash. Press the hash again. It's bleeped. Just pick up the radio signal, just press hash again to strike it. Number 8 to print it off. We know it's race point 1, so we just put number 1 and hash. Pre-programmed for 2 copies, so if you wanted to have 2, you just press the hash. We only need 1 this time, so we just put in number 1 and the hash. And it's now printing off the race entries for your first race. And there we go, there's your race entry sheet for the first race. Master timer readings are at the bottom. Everything's fine, so it's safe to disconnect the clock. And we'll come back to the clubhouse on Friday night. So, just for example, it's now Friday night and we're going to mark for a second race at his own club, or any club. So what you do, again, you plug the clock in either via the U-Knives lead or into his own TauRIS Club marking equipment, and the clock screen will say, if you can see this, it will say 5 for view, 8 for print. You ignore that and you press number 7 and you press the hash. It's asking again for the commission ring. As I said, after the commission ring's bleeped, you just press the hash, and it's asking for the race point number. So now we can't use the same race point number as the first race. So what you do is we'll just say put in number 4, as we know number 4 is Wincanton, and we press the hash. It's now asking me to enter the birds for the second race. Again, we'll just enter them 2, and you go through the same procedure as striking the clock off. So it's start, wait for the main menu to come back on, start again. Number 3 is flashing, so we just press the hash. Hash again. The clock's bleeped. Hash again. Number 8 now to print it off. We know it's race point 4. Press the hash. It asks you for number of copies again. We only need 1. And then press the hash. It's now printing off the entries for the second race. As I said, for the timing of the pigeons, you don't have to press anything at all. All we'll do now is we've now marked for both races. Everything's there, the 2 master timer readings are there, your clock readings there. There isn't a problem at all with that race entry. So all we need to do now is just disconnect the clock. What we'll do now is we'll go back to his loft, ready to time in from these 2 races on Saturday morning. So I'll now get the loft equipment set up. Okay?